Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the online sessions on embedded systems. In the previous sessions, we have done with the classifications of the embedded systems and skills required to design an embedded system. Now, let us try to end up about the overview of the embedded system. So, before that, the last topic in that previous session is going to be the applications. What are the various applications of the embedded systems? So the applications of embedded system are going to be numerous because whenever we have to design a system with less human intervention, there comes to be the embedded system concept. So that is what the basic necessity of going for the embedded system, and the cost of the system is also going to be very less in comparison to the computer based system. So until now, the computer based system for us is going to be a general purpose computer system, which will be costly, and which will be costly and which cannot be really moved from one place to another place before the intervention of the microcontrollers and embedded systems. So after the intervention of microcontrollers and embedded systems, then the applications have simply become increased into numerous areas. So what are the areas that we can really think of is going to be something like, a telecom applications. When you think about telecom application, what are all the applications we can just really perform by using embedded systems? We can perform mobile computing. So nowadays we are all really using the mobile computing applications. There are many mobile computing applications, wireless applications, and we are dealing with the networking applications, and sometimes combiningly all these three we are really performing by using the mobile phone. Now our mobile phone itself is known as an embedded system. Why? Because this mobile phone is simply performing the intended specific operations, so therefore it can be called as an embedded system for us. The next one is going to be the smart cards. This smart card itself is once again going to be an embedded system application. So in using smart card, what applications are normally going to perform, now going to get performed? It's going to be the banking application, telephone application once again, and for security reasons also, people also normally using the smart cards nowadays. So this is one of the application which we can have. The next application that we can have is going to be the missiles and satellites. So you can just simply use embedded system applications in missiles and the satellites to perform the automated tasks, to perform the automated operations. We normally prefer the embedded systems. So the applications where we use missiles and satellites is going to be what? Defense applications, aerospace applications, and communication applications. We normally use the embedded systems as well. The next application where we can think of is going to be computer networking systems and peripherals, something like data communication applications. So what is a data communication? Data communication is nothing but a computer to computer communications. So what is a computer? Computer is basically a digital computing device, is simply known as a computer for us. So all our gadgets that we are using nowadays are all going to be, part of the computers, but cannot be called as a computer. So as far as our previous knowledges are concerned, what is basically a computer? Computer is basically a multi purpose system using which we can perform multiple operations by using a single computer, so which contains large amounts of memory, which whose speed is going to be really very high, and interfacing provisions will be provided, peripheral devices will be provided to perform the multi-user applications, to perform multitasking applications, which is what called a computer based system. Whereas coming to the embedded system, it is not meant for the multi it is usually not meant for the multi-purpose applications. It is going to be for the specific purpose applications, is what called a embedded system for all of us. So therefore, we can simply incorporate embedded systems to perform computer networking applications. So therefore, we can use them in the computer networking systems and peripherals. So what applications we can really perform in this area is going to be the networking systems, image processing. You can really operate printers. Printer is a embedded system application. So image processing equipment is an embedded system applications. Networking system module is going to be a embedded system application. Network cards is going to be embedded system application. Monitors and displays, all these are network, all these are embedded system applications. And next one is going to be something like digital consumer electronics. So consumer electronics means known as DVD players, set-top boxes for televisions that we are using nowadays, and high definition TVs, that is called smart TVs that we are using, and digital cameras. So these are all the basic applications using which we normally going to perform, we normally perform in the consumer based applications. And next is automotive applications. Automobiles, we'll be using the embedded systems in the automobiles for motor control systems. So that means nowadays we are driving a car by so many other motor control mechanisms. So we have a power steering nowadays. What is power steering? So the driver would not feel that he has to do a lot of hard work to revolve the wheel. Okay, to revolve the wheel of the vehicle. So you just rotate the wheel in the while driving as usual, and automatically the wheels of the car or a heavy vehicle are simply going to get rotated. So how it is been done? By using a motor control systems. So they are known as power steering. That is known as power steered vehicle. So using power steering performed by using motor control systems, we normally going to drive the vehicle very easily. Then cruise control systems, engine and body safety control systems, robotics in assembly line. So car entertainment systems. In the car nowadays, we are finding so much of entertainment systems. We are finding televisions, we are finding Bluetooth connection, we are finding Wi-Fi connections to the car. So many equipments have been provided, automated door locking systems. All these are what so many things we are entertaining nowadays. So much of multimedia is incorporated in the car itself. So mobile and e-commerce access in the vehicle itself. In the vehicle itself, that means once we connect our vehicle to the internet, once we able to connect our vehicle to the GPS systems, we can just simply incorporate all the applications that can be done by using the mobile phone, that can be done by using a computer based system, can be done in the car itself nowadays. So nowadays the car is not going to be just a locomotive. The car is simply going to be a sophisticated technological equipment nowadays, using which we can simply going to communicate with our people while driving the car itself. These are all the various applications or numerous applications that we can really find out in the embedded systems. So embedded systems are popularly meant for ASIC applications, application specific integrated circuits. ASIC stands for application specific integrated circuits configuration. So now this, that means the entire system will be coming in a single chip, is called ASIC chip, which is known as an embedded system for us. So something like this, you're going to have a program data, you're going to have the ports, you're going to have memories. Now all these are going to get interconnected with so many other peripherals, and all of them will be present in the single chip. So like analog circuits will be interconnected with the digital circuits, interrupt controllers, DMA controllers, port interfaces, E-square prompts, RISC processors, multi-processor DSP systems, program address generator, data address generators, so on and so forth. So all these are simply be part of a single embedded system. Single system is known as an embedded system for us. So these are all the various hardware structure of an embedded system. And one of the example what we can really think of is going to be something like a contactless smart card system. When you simply see a contactless smart card system, what components this particular smart card system is going to be there? Now this is our smart card system, which contains the internal small memory, and it contains the transceiver antenna, okay, which contains duplexer system here, and which is normally interacting with the interacting with the IO interfacing circuit, and it will be interfacing with the processor. Okay, and every system is normally going to have a processor. It may be a microprocessor or it may be a microcontroller, and which will be connected to internal RAM, ROM, and EEPROM memory elements. It will be processor will be connected to the timers and counters, interrupt controllers, and this interfacing circuit will be connected to the amplitude shifted key modulator circuits. So because the input signal, whatever is coming from here, has to be demodulated, has to be modulated while it is transmitting. So all this processing has to be done. That can be done by using the modulator and demodulator before it is transmitted to the external world. Therefore, we normally going to have a transceiver. Using transceiver, we receive and transmit the signals from the smart card. So contactless smart card, just we place the smart card without contacting it to the sensor, and sensor is normally going to sense the information from the smart card. So you can simply perform reading from the smart card, and you can perform instructions getting out from the smart card. So all these transceiver applications can be performed by using a smart card, and internally you can just simply have all these various equipments. So internally it is, that means what, if you observe this particular system, this is nothing but an embedded system. Now all this entire thing will be coming in a single chip, okay, single unit, and that unit is normally going to have a transceiver chip. It is something like nowadays we are operating our mobile phones with a SIM card. So if you don't put any SIM card in our mobile phone, that mobile phone is not going to operate. Definitely, we already know that. That means that the mobile phone SIM card is nothing but a transceiver antenna of silicon type. So that chip is normally going to used. Using that chip, your entire mobile phone hardware will be working for this particular chip. If chip is not present, it is something like, if heart is not present, there is no use of the entire body. Similar to that, this entire hardware of the embedded system is simply working for this particular single chip. So we'll just simply incorporate the chip, the SIM card inside the mobile phone, and the mobile phone is normally going to operate by using this particular hardware equipments. Similar to that, you're going to have a smart card applications. So these are all the various applications that we can really think of for the embedded systems. Similarly, you can simply incorporate this embedded systems in almost all fields of engineering. So you can just simply name the field of engineering, there the embedded system simply comes into the picture. So therefore, embedded system has got numerous applications. Embedded system is going to fit in almost all the fields of engineering in the practical scenario. So these are all the various applications that we can really think of when we deal with the embedded systems. So now, before we discuss about a microcontrollers, I just wanted to give you an overview of an entire embedded system in terms of design criteria, in terms of embedded system, and in terms of various aspects of the embedded system. So let us have an overview of an embedded system. What is an embedded system? It is a combination of electronic devices. Embedded system is nothing but a system which is a combination of electronic devices that incorporate a microprocessor and a microcontroller within their implementations. That means with their implementations, the entire system is incorporated in a single chip, single unit, is known as an embedded system for us. So the microprocessor or microcontroller of an embedded system is totally hidden from the user. Hidden cannot see a microprocessor or microcontroller. Say something like whenever you are operating the lift, you really don't know the internal circuitry of the automated operated lift system. Whenever you're going to use the mobile phone, you don't see the microprocessor microcontroller which is there inbuilt into the mobile phone. Whenever you're operating the vehicle, you really don't know the internal processor used. Something like it is totally hidden from the user point of view. It is there inside and operating silently. That is what called embedded system. An embedded system is not going to use any mouses, monitors, for it to operate, just like a computer based system. So whenever you're going to operate any computer based system, definitely we already know we need to have a keyboard, we need to have a monitors, okay, we need to have peripherals to be connected in order to operate. Now here in the case of embedded systems, all of them are not at all needed for it to get operated. So that is what one of the main feature. Then just now we have seen the various applications like aerospace applications, automotive applications, in toys, child toys, communications applications. So all these are going to be the basic applications which we can really think of. So in aerospace, just now we have seen it normally used for navigation systems, automatic landing systems of an aircraft, flight altitude control systems, altitude control systems, engine control systems, space exploration. All these are going to be there. Automotive systems, fuel injection control, passenger environmental controls, anti-locking braking systems, airbag controls, GPS mapping, global positioning system mapping, and cruise control. So cruise control is going to be the ground station control systems. And embedded systems are used in the toys, like automated cars for the toys for the children, and toy in the dolls we're going to use so much of embedded systems. Okay, so all these are going to be the part of the applications of embedded systems. And in the case of communications, we use embedded systems in satellites, we use embedded system network routers, we use embedded systems in the switches, hubs, so on and so forth, for data communications. And for computer peripherals, in the case of computer peripherals, we use embedded systems in printers, scanners, keyboards, displays. All of them can be made automated nowadays. So modems, hard disk drivers, CD-ROM drivers, USB ports. And in the home applications, home based applications, we can use embedded system dishwashers, we can use them in VCR players, televisions, firewall alarm systems, sprinkler control systems, thermostats, digital cameras, okay, clock radios, cell phones. All these are the home based application systems. And in the industry, we can use elevator control systems, surveillance control systems, robotics, robots used in the industry are all going to be the embedded systems, of course. Robot itself is known as an embedded system for us. And instrumentation system means what, for data collection, oscilloscope, signal generators, signal analyzers, power supplies are the basic embedded systems used in the instrumentation part of the system. What is basically instrumentation system is a system which is a combination of many other types of the subsystems. That means analog systems, digital systems, okay, and sensors, right, and signal conditioning units, right, that means different types of systems are interconnected in the case of the instrumentation systems. That means instrumentation system is basically a full-fledged real-time application system, right, is known as an instrumentation system. So in such real-time application systems, we are normally going to use the embedded systems. And of course in a medical field also, we're going to use embedded systems for CT scanning, for one touch glucose meters, and almost all medical facilities we're going to use the embedded systems. So nowadays all the medical tests have been done by using the embedded systems. And office automations, fax machines, copiers, printers, telephones, okay, can be automated simply. Nowadays we are listening the automated telephone voices. When you make a call to the various service centers, right, we'll be getting automated message. That is an embedded system application. And for personal computers, PDS, personal data assistances, pagers, cell phones, video games, iPod systems, MP3 players, are all these are going to be embedded systems, right? Now coming to the market, embedded market and desktop market. See here, in comparison to this, the embedded systems will be produced in terms of 100, when a desktop is produced of 1. That means in the market, that means here, when when one computer is really manufactured in that particular time, when one computer is released in the market, in that particular time, 100 embedded systems can be simply released into the market. So that is what the ratio that we can really going to have for the embedded systems. So in the future days, the average embedded process which will be used in the homes will be around 50. Nowadays, we are using modems, embedded system. We are using, washing machines as an embedded system. We are using smartphones, embedded system. We are using the smart TVs, embedded system, right? So we are using automated components in the vehicle, embedded system, so on and so forth. So many such systems. We are using pages. We are using data cards. All these are embedded systems, right? So it's going to be numerous. So embedded system is a system which comprises of all these units in the single unit is known as embedded system, like processor, memory, input output devices, input output interfacing devices connected to the embedded system. So an embedded system contains CPU and internal software, right? Both will be running parallelly, hand by hand. Then next, it contains memory storage elements like ROM, RAM, okay, programmable ROM, electrically erasable programmable RAM. It's going to be electrically programmable RAM. Input devices known as the knobs, buttons, probes, sensors, analog to digital converters, communication signals, panels. For outputs, we're going to use LCD displays, microwave radiation systems, analog to digital communication signals, and outputs can be really taken from functionalities of inputs, elapsed time, that is what called time durated systems. So if at all we are going to use a time dedicated time systems, then we normally use a RTOS as an operating system for these functionalities to operate. So these are all the things which we normally going to have in the embedded systems. And what kind of microprocessors are normally used in embedded systems? So the processors are going to be Zilog Z8 family processors of 8-bit, Intel 8051 family processors we're going to use. So basically 8051 is called as called as a microcontroller family. Then Intel 188, 80386 processors, Motorola 68000 processors, okay, and Motorola PowerPC family processors. So these are all the various processors which we're normally going to use in the embedded system. Now every processor is going to support its own internal things, and most importantly we have 8051 family in the syllabus. So it is basically an 8-bit processor, therefore the bus width is going to be 8 here, and it supports 64 kilobits of program memory and 64 kilobits of data memory at the most. It contains 3 timers and 1 serial port at the most, and the speed in terms of megabits per second is going to be 1 megabits per second it supports. So these are all the features of this embedded systems which we can have. Then overall common design criterias for the embedded systems. What are the criterias to design an embedded system? Okay, so the production cost constraints is one of the criteria of an embedded system. It is based on the market value, based on the amount of products which are going to get, which are expected to get sold in the market. So you have to find out the production cost constraints, processing power. It is also based on the application. Every application needs a sufficient amount of processing power. So based on that, you have to design the embedded system, and of course memory constraints. So whether application needed memory or it does not need any memory. So that is also going to be constrained. And next one is going to be a development cost. It should be as low as possible. The development cost of the embedded system should be as low as possible. Why? Because embedded systems are meant to get produced in mass scale and meant to get perform some specific task which are totally going to be automated tasks for the end users. Therefore the development cost should be as low as possible. That is the main performance bottleneck. Okay, and memory constraints. Of course, the embedded system is normally going to be an automated system. Therefore, the memory, you cannot really use huge amounts of memory. Therefore, memory will be definitely coming in limited. When memory is going to be limited, obviously the processing power is also going to come down. Why? Because all the embedded systems are going to get operated by a battery. Now you are all simply experiencing that mobile phones are operating with a battery. Since mobile phones are operating with a battery, what is the output power of battery that we can think of? 3.5 volts to 5 volts is the battery power we're using. So for such a very limited power, obviously the processing power of the device is also going to be definitely less, because of the limited size of the battery that is not normally going to get used in the real-time applications, right? And number of units for embedded systems which you're going to have, expected lifetime of an embedded system once it comes into the market, and the reliability of the system after your design, and design criterias in terms of various other areas like processor. Now, what kind of processor we are intended to design? Whether you are looking for a 4-bit processor, 8-bit processor, 16-bit processor, 30-bit processor, 16-bit, 64-bit processor, and how much memory is normally needed for your application? Maybe less than 16 kilobytes of memory, or 64 to 1 megabytes of memory, greater than 1 megabytes of memory. What is going to be the development cost? Less than 1 lakh US dollars. Okay, or ranges between 1 lakh to 10 lakh US dollar, greater than 10 lakh US dollars development cost, and the production cost, so on and so forth, and number of units that you normally going to manufacture per unit for time frame, and expected lifetime of the product, less than years, decades. So that is what the another design criteria. And reliability, low, medium, and high reliable systems. So these are all the constraints which we have. The next, the most suitable language to write an embedded system program, is going to be embedded C program language. So the most popular language used for embedded systems is known as embedded C programming language. Over 80% of the embedded systems are normally going to get programmed by using embedded C software. It is a high level language, obviously, and it supports both high level as well as low level language, right? So therefore it is going to be a compact language. It is going to be provide efficient code for almost all processors, both high level and low level features it contains. And it is normally going to have a direct hardware control. So this direct hardware control is normally meant for hard coding of the embedded systems. See, embedded systems are basically time bound systems known as dedicated systems. Okay, that means they have to meet the deadlines. Embedded systems has to meet the deadlines. Whenever embedded system has to meet the deadlines, the embedded systems has to be hard coded. So these hard coded things can be done by using a direct hardware control methods. So therefore this direct hardware control is an important feature that has to be incorporated in embedded system to support a dedicated applications, dedicated time bound applications. So that means here deadlock situations should not arise in the case of the embedded systems. Without losing the benefits of high level language, we have to really get these hard coding control systems that we are going to get in the embedded C programming language. Embedded system is the embedded C programming language is most appropriate for 8-bit to 16-bit processor applications, and it supports kilobytes to megabytes of memory programming languages. And typical hardware it requires, already just now we discussed about the hardware required for embedded systems, is going to be a microprocessor or microcontroller which contains executable code. It needs a memory called read-only memory, random access memories, programmable ROM memories, okay, EEPROM memories, flash memories, all these things we can have. And embedded systems do not have explicitly keyboards, screens, disk drivers, all these things, CDs, CD drivers, speakers, microphones, deskettes, modems, all these can be connected external to the embedded system, but not the part of the embedded systems. Embedded systems internally is going to have serial ports, parallel ports, network interface cards, sensors, A to D converters, and D to A converters. Now, finally, what are the going to be the design goals of an embedded system? What the embedded system is intended to perform. That means, what is the objective? What is the objective of designing the embedded system? What is the future goals of an embedded system? What is the projection of embedded system for future uses? That is what called the design goals of an embedded system. Embedded systems are designed basically for mission critical and life threatening applications. As I was talking to you, mission critical means what? It has to meet the deadlines. Mission critical means it should meet the deadlines, is called the mission critical applications. And life threatening applications. So whenever a fire is going on at some place, people cannot go, human being cannot go, but whereas robot can go to that place to really recover many people. Okay, so that means nowadays robot has been used in industries instead of human beings, in the chemical factories, in the manufacturing sectors. Robots have been used, robots have been replaced than the human being. Whenever a life threatening problems are going to be predominant in those areas. Okay, so if something goes wrong, human being will be saved. Only robot is normally going to get demolished. Okay, so therefore, there we normally going to have use. The next one is going to be like, no human intervention. Whenever we are going to have a, that's what automated systems are known as, no human intervention systems. So whenever we have a preference for no human intervention systems, we normally prefer the embedded systems like robotics. No human intervention system. Automated washing machines, no human interference systems. Okay, so and sensors, no human interference systems. So on and so forth. So therefore, a next application where we're going to use is going to be multitasking and scheduling applications. Scheduling is also going to be an automated process. Scheduling means what? One task will be performed one after the other in sequence based on the time scheduling, based on the scheduling design in the program. Automatically the system will be performing task one after the other. And multitasking, automated multitasking system, and scheduling, whenever we have these applications task to performed, then we have to go for the embedded system. These are the design goals. And optimized IO for assembly language. And see here, embedded systems is what it has to support optimized input output applications, because we'll be running with the scarce resources in the embedded systems. Therefore, optimized IO utilization has to be done by using the embedded language called embedded C programming language. And limits, inaccuracies of fixed precision systems will be there predominant. Consumer market, minimizing the manufacturing cost whenever fast time to market is required. See, this is this is also a very important point to be discussed. Just like say something, now we have got a COVID problem. So what is the solution for COVID is going to be the vaccine. So vaccine should come as early as possible into the market to safeguard the people, to safeguard the requirements of the people. Okay, are to give a service to the people as early as possible. Similarly, embedded market, whenever a requirement is there of an automated system in the market, it should come as early as possible. So embedded systems can really come out as early as possible, unlike the computer based general purpose systems. And one more thing, as I was talking to you continuously, once you really manufacture an embedded system, you really cannot modify for future modifications. That means no chance for future modifications. Once we get a system, and we have to live with that particular system, just like how you are a human body. Once you get a body, you cannot change your body for your entire lifetime. You have to live with that body, whether you like it or you don't like it. So that is what called something like, embedded system. In that perspective, the human body is also going to be an embedded system for us. It is also going to be a system called as embedded system. We cannot change it. You have to use it for the life. right? So similarly, handle a lot of volumes of data in a short period of time. So this is what time-bound systems, as I was talking to you. It is going to use huge amounts of memory based on the applications in a very short period of time. So it should be very quick enough to really process the signals, process the data from the memory. It has to react to the external events very quickly. Right. So that is what another thing which you're going to have. Setting up equipment to test embedded softwares. So here embedded software has to be tested very quickly because time to market is another important constraint. No, to address all those things, these things will be coming over there. So without a screen or a keyboard, you have to find out what software is doing. And when something went wrong, why it went wrong. Without keyboard, without monitors, so you should be in a position to test the embedded system software. That is going to be one of the design goals. So whenever we have such situations, we're going to use the embedded systems over there. So must be able to handle any situation without human intervention. That's what same. With no intervention, it has to be handled. So memory is limited on embedded systems because of power constraints, because of the size, very small size, and definitely the memory constraint is going to be there. And you must make the software and data fit into whatever memory it really allows. So it is going to be a co-design for the memory as well as the speed as well as the size, so many things. So the main design constraints of an embedded system is going to be the speed, size, and cost. So these are all the main things which we normally going to have for any embedded systems. So you will need special tools to get your software into the embedded system. This is what one of the problematic areas. So getting software tools for embedded system is not going to be easy. So it's going to be very tough because there are numerous applications of an embedded systems. So designing a common software tool to test different types of embedded systems is really a challenging task for us. So therefore, you need a special tools to get our software into the embedded systems. And obviously, portable systems must run on a battery power, just like our mobile phones. And the software in these systems must conserve the power. That means mobile phones should run by consuming less power, or in fact, for that matter, any embedded system should run by consuming very less power because they will be battery operated systems. Why they are known as battery operated systems? Because they are all called as a digital systems. So digital systems are going to operate with a digital clock. Digital clock source is going to be the crystal oscillator. Crystal oscillator is normally going to be an electronic circuit which is going to generate which is going to generate the signals, digital clocks, based on the DC voltage. So therefore, compulsorily they are going to be the battery operated systems which are going to be there, the internal part of the embedded systems. So for that reason, what happens is the embedded systems are going to be used in the areas of portable systems, and portable systems are obviously going to run on battery power, and the software in these portable systems must conserve the power. If it is going to conserve so much power, if it is going to take more power, if it draws more power from the battery, and your battery is going to get exhausted very quickly, and you really cannot use your embedded system for a long time period. You should once again recharge the embedded system in a very, very small duration of time. So that's another performance criteria, another goal that we have to have it for embedded systems. So embedded systems have a microprocessor or a microcontroller and a memory systems. Some have a serial port or a connection, network connectors. They usually do not have the keyboards on the screens or disk drives. So these are all the various design goals of an embedded systems, right? So with this, we'll stop our session today. And next session, we start with the 8051 microcontrollers. Thank you very much for the today's session.